Money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, 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 money. We got that fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, 'cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that fly Nubian money. Boss talk, only we stack it up.
Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood. And today we have a few things that are happening today. But today we are talking about Master P. He says that black people must move past slavery to build wealth. Now, that has really got black people and just the community up in arms. And so today we are going to talk about if we need to stop harping. Are we harping at all? Do we need to get out of our negative mindset? Now, I think that this is where it gets complicated because our history isn't just history. Slavery was followed by Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, and other policies that restricted Black Americans' ability to own, accumulate assets, and pass wealth from one generation to the next. Those things have economic consequences that didn't simply disappear when the laws changed. Researchers can still point to the place in history where it explains why the wealth gap looks the way it is. So today, we are going to have a conversation. Is Master P right? Are we spending too much time thinking about the past instead of focusing on our financial future? Today, I am joined by the best queens and a king that we have on the show today. You don't know him, but you know him. Anonymous is here, y'all. Anonymous has come to Fly Nubian Money. He has revealed that he is not, in fact, living in his mama's basement. He ain't as ugly as I thought. We thought all the bad things. We are joined by No Malenga, Aisha, and of course Anonymous. So today we are going to get into this conversation. Y'all, Anonymous is here. That's crazy. All right, so let's get into it. Do you all believe that we are harping on slavery and Black America just needs to simply get rid of the negative mindset that they have? I'll start with you, Aisha. What do you think?
It's a very complicated topic, right? Because there's so many facets about this, the history and everything. But just off top, saying the negative, if we say negative, yes, I think we should stop focusing on our negativity and see how we can pivot. That I agree. But we're not going to forget about the history and what happened. That's important. So the complexity, it's just hard to just say one thing and move on. You have to really understand and have the base to move on, not just move on and stop being negative. That's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, No Malenga? What do you think about what Master P said? Do you think that this is rubbish in No Malenga fashion? What do you think?
I don't think it's rubbish. I actually didn't want to come on for this topic because it's just there's no winning, because we have, I think, was it Yvette Connell's Foundational Black Americans, and then there's another movement, Descendants of American Slavery. So I don't belong to either one of those groups, although I am raising children that do. So I'm always careful in these conversations because people will say, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't have the background that we do, and all of that. So I'm very careful with these conversations. Having said that, Master P is an FBA or whatever the going thing is right now, and then he said it, and he has built wealth. So I think it's worth interrogating what he meant, and what angle he could have been coming from. But my honest opinion is that I do think that if something caused you harm, and continues to cause you harm, it's easy for somebody who it's not causing harm or not causing harm anymore to stand back and say, well, you need to just get past this.
Hmm.
However, there is no value in staying stuck in a place if it doesn't get you to your wealth and it doesn't get you to the point where you're liberated and you're free and you're able to build that wealth. So it sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but that's just how I see it.
I mean, I think it's one of those conversations where you can't help but to, right? You
Hmm.
see it. I think we all can step in the box and then step out of the box. Now,
Absolutely.
I know Anonymous is really passionate about history in particular and often talks about reparations and all of the things. So I can't wait to hear what you have to think. What do you think that we're harping? Like, what is your thought, Anonymous?
No, I really don't think we're harping on it too much. I actually think we need to bring this issue more to the forefront, actually. So I'm disappointed in Master P. 'Cause, I mean, me and him come from the same place. We're both from New Orleans, uptown, third ward, backtown. Shout out to the Calio Projects.
West Bank, what's up? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
But yeah, and for some reason they only say this about us. They never say this about, like, say, the Jewish community. I mean, Pastor B doesn't go to Israel and tell them to forget about the Holocaust or anything like that. So, I mean, I just see Master P. He's out of touch with the grassroots movement, and he's collaborating with those people,
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because I think once people get to a certain status, it is very easy to forget. It's like OJ Simpson, right? I'm not black, I'm OJ. I remember at some point Lil Wayne was like, race doesn't matter. He was like saying something about race not mattering, or he doesn't see color, or something crazy that he said. And I just think that I think that's where obviously I work and I live in Hollywood, and I've definitely been in rooms with people who, at some point, you can tell when they got to a certain level because it becomes about like the universe and energy and metaphysics and all of that. And so I wonder if that's a thing, right? That's a thing here where people stop seeing past color, and they just say like, well, I'm ambitious, I just have, I believe that I can, so I can. It's not a racial thing. Aisha, what do you think about that? Like, once is it spiritual? Is it energetic? Are we holding on to this negative just because of our energy? Is our energy caught in the past?
Somebody made a comment that said, be careful how you speak on this. So when we start actually making people not actually express what will help us do better, then how do we really get better? Right? Because your experience is not my experience and vice versa. But the best way for us, all of us collectively, to move forward is to actually listen to each other and understand, where do I have blind sides that I can actually correct, so that I can see maybe I should do something different as well, so that I can get a different result if what I've been doing has not changed. Okay, the question about energy, metaphysics, I don't believe in all of that. To me, everything I do, my faith drives me. I don't now say, oh, my culture, my this. No. I believe, you know what, if you believe in God and you believe that you're made in the image of God and likeness, and He is giving you this being of who you are, and you're moving through this earth, why should another human being have such a strong hold on you? That's just how I feel. Why should it allow somebody, whatever, a group of people, to have such a strong hold on you, right? That's how I think about it. So, energy. I don't believe in all of that. I just believe in God. What did God say about you? What did God say about me? That it to me is where my sense of being comes from. It's not about what other people think. They may think whatever they want. That's their perception. That is how they've treated me. That's how they made me feel. That's how um they've maybe created things that to cause me problem. But at the end of the day, if I find the people that I know that as human beings and those that believe in God and see what God is doing, am I going to allow another human being actually control me to that extent? Where now it's about them and energy? No, it's about what God thinks about me, right? And I
Okay.
have to find a way to get back on track with that and know what another human being is doing to me.
Okay. All right. I can understand what you're saying. And I know this is coming to you because, um, it's interesting because you're a fan of history, right? So we know that since the end of slavery, Reconstruction, we're talking Jim Crow, we're talking redlining, all of the things that have been put in place to prevent black people from, he's saying, from get or basically we're saying to get that wealth gap, right? To whoa, to to move it forward, right? To move our community forward, right? How do we not look back at those things, right? And expect to close that wealth gap? Thank you, Lord Jesus. How do we close that wealth gap with the things that have already happened? Like, can we keep this in perspective? How do we do that?
The answer to that question is that it hasn't ended. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution of America says slavery is abolished unless for punishment inside of a prison. So we still have for-profit prisons out here that actually do keep slavery going. But even before the for-profit prisons by Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, you had what was called convict leasing, where they would arrest black men, put the black men in the prisons, and then they would lease them out. It would happen all over the Jim Crow South. And that didn't stop until Francis Biddle, was Franklin Roosevelt's attorney general, basically put it into the convict leasing in the year 1941. But even with convict leasing gone, we still have the for-profit prison system. Like, just to roll off some statistics off the top of my head right now, United States of America has 5% of the world's population. We have 25% of the world's prisoners. 40% of those prisoners are black, specifically, predominantly black men. So, and when you look at another interesting statistic, how black people are 13% of the population, but 53% of the exonerations, this means that there's a greater issue there. So slavery hasn't actually ended. And as far as how to build wealth, reparations is also an economic plan. It's not just a symbolic feel good thing. But I don't think Master P's has educated himself on this topic, though. So that's my answer to the question.
I love that. I love that. Because you're absolutely right. So we're saying stop thinking about the past, stop thinking about slavery, but what you're saying is slavery is still happening today. It's still impacting. There's black men that have been forced to leave their homes and their families. So we've left broken homes. There's single mothers. I mean, it's caused so much of an issue. No Malenga, how can we close that gap? Is it just a mindset? Because do we just get rid of our negative mindset and get productive like Master P says? What do you think?
It's not just about getting productive because I think everybody right here on this panel is very productive. So it's not just about getting productive, it's about changing things systematically. However, I still think that you have to kind of have a two-pronged approach to these things. Yeah, you got to undo what was done, but you can't get so stuck looking at what happened that you're now not doing anything to move yourself forward, right? So I think, the conversations that we have on this show are great. We're always talking about support black businesses, educate your kids, build black wealth, build black families, all these things. Those are the things that will move us forward. But When the systems that are in place work against you, it's like spinning on a hamster wheel. So you have to do both. You have to undo the system, do your part to undo the system, as well as do individually what you need to do to move forward. So it's not either or, it has to be both.
Got it. Got it. I love that. So let's check out the video. If you are just joining us, you're watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Miss Black Hollywood. Today we are talking about Master P. He says black people must move past slavery. We got to forget about it to build wealth. And we're just talking about if that's true. The chat, I want to know from your opinion, are we think? Is it just us thinking negatively? Is that what's keeping us behind? I often hear people talk about, and we'll get to the video, but the internet. There's more ways to make money. There's more ways to profit. There's more ways. There's more things that we can do. We have more access to money than we ever have. Black people have $2 trillion worth of spending, right? All of the things we hear. And I often say, like, even if I think Constance and I say, like, 2% of black wealth is spent in the black community. The other 98% is out within 6 hours or something like that. So we were saying if we just took it from 2% to 10%, that would be our reparations. That would be it. That would change our communities. And so I want to know. Let's watch the video first before we even get into that conversation, because I want to go to Anonymous on that front. If we could just cooperate with one another, collaborate with one another, and practice cooperative economics, if that'll make the difference. Let's go to this video first. Let's see what he's talking about.
If I could do it, anybody could do it. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just got to have integrity and do good business. And these doors will open up for you, building great relationships. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, trying to get that negative mindset out of our culture, because they still going back to, oh man, slavery, they did us this. And I'm like, you still harping on that, man. I never harped on that, because I can't change the past, but I can change the future. And I think you got to get used to us being successful. And I think a lot of us, we block our own blessings because we don't think that we could do it because we're looking at a color. So, I mean, Muhammad Ali was a guy that, and I loved like his story, because he didn't care about that. He just wanted to be around good people, but he did represent for the culture. Right. And I want more African-American owned tennis shoe companies. I don't want this just to be me. I want so many different product brands owned by us, but making it for everybody. Because think about it, when other cultures make products, they don't make it for them, they make it for everybody. And so I want that mindset of our people. If I could change that, that's the way we're going to bridge the wealth gap.
So that is the thought, y'all. We're
It's
we're
good to hear
harping.
it.
What's interesting about that is that I feel like black people do. 90% of inventions in America have been black, right? Are made from black people. You can hop on TikTok and shop and find black people who are making tennis shoes. You can find black people that are making all kind of amazing things. A guy just made gas out of plastic. Black people are doing the thing. I feel like what gets most of our attention is entertainment, right? We're prone to pay attention to Beyonce as opposed to somebody else who's making things. So I'm not going to go on a tangent in this. I'm just going to ask y'all, what do y'all think? I'll start with you, Anonymous. What do you think about what he said? Now that you've heard it, what do you agree with what he's saying?
Well, from what I've gathered from just listening to what he said, it's like he's looking at it from a capitalist point of view. He's talking about people need to start up shoe companies and all that trash. I mean, basically saying we can LLC our way out of the situation that we're in, which that just not possible. See, because practicing group economics and coming together, I hear some people try to say that's a form of reparations, but that's not really a form of reparations. I mean, reparations is a debt that is owed to Black America through the government. Okay. Now, starting up a company and paying yourself, that's a good thing. I'm pro LLC, I'm pro business, but I'm trying to figure out what do you do after that? I didn't hear Master P talk about getting into politics, making sure that these politicians are on our side, because I know he's worth like $100 billion. He can actually start up a lobbying group if he wanted to, which can actually push Black economic power forward if he actually got some politicians that he would lobby. But it's, he's just looking at it from a capitalist point of view, where he just wants to make as much money as he can. And yeah, I don't really agree with that. At least not without helping your people after you do that.
Yeah. Um, no, Malenga, you've heard the video. You've heard what he said. Is it about us? I just don't agree with what he said completely. I feel like we're looking at it. I agree with Anonymous, but I feel like we're looking at it from a very interesting lens. It's almost like when you get with other people, other Black people. Have you ever been around a group of people, a group of Black people, and before you know it, it's like Black people ain't doing this, and we ain't doing that, and we don't do this, and we don't do that, and it's just not the truth because you don't have the full perspective. And I don't always believe stats. I don't know where the stats come from. I don't know how many Black people you interviewed. I don't know what you took 10 people and was like 100% of Black people don't do this. And so I don't know if that is quite all this is true. So I agree with what Anonymous is saying. I do feel like we're gonna have to get it on our own, because the government has proven, I think the administration has proven, and I don't want to make this political right at this moment, but they would rather give reparations to white people in their own than to give Black. They've given reparations to pretty much everybody with us. So I think we can. I just think maybe that dream is going to be sailed down the river, and we just got to figure. Maybe this is the part of Master P I'm thinking. We're gonna have to figure out how to insulate and get it ourselves. No, Malenga, what do you think about? What do you think about that? What do you think about?
Um, I still say what I kind of said before. What he's saying is okay, but it's not the only angle. There's another angle where there has to be systemic change. Like I said, I like what Anonymous said about running for political office, because again, the systems are usually put into place through political office, right? So yeah, that's where change, some of the change can come from, where you're changing the systems. But again, if you focus only on changing the systems, and then when the systems change, you don't have anything in your hands, that's not going to work for you either. So I'm just always going to say it. You have to do both. You have to consider that um, not changing the system and working as hard as you can is like running on a hamster wheel, right? But at the same time, focusing only on the system and then not building yourself, not building your wealth, not giving back to your community is also not going to help you. The analogy that I think of is a person who's been very, very badly traumatized by whatever. You can pick anything. And then they spend all their life talking about their trauma. They don't go to therapy to try and deal with the trauma, and see what a way forward is. And they just keep talking about it, keep talking about it. They're never going to be successful in life. What they're saying is absolutely true. What happened is absolutely unfair. But unless you deal with it and then do something constructive to move forward, you're just stuck there, you know? So that's why I'm saying it always has to be two things. Deal with what it is, yeah, the system, but at the same time, yeah, do build businesses, do give back to the community, do all the things that will move you forward in spite of the system.
Just to come back to, let's kind of talk about entertainers, right? People that go and get lots of money and then try to get into politics, right? I think I saw at some point Cardi B was running for a political, a political office. We've seen, I don't know what Nicki
The
Minaj was doing.
governor.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Nicki Minaj was doing with Trump. I'm not sure. But I think that it kind of is like a different kind of mindset, where you don't really, what I find is that people don't care about after they've built their brands off black people. They go on, like we were talking about yesterday, to become successful, and they kind of forget about black people, and they start to advocate for things that work against blacks. So it can't be just getting into politics. It is like, what's the mission? Aisha, what do you think about that? I feel like smart people need to run for politics, and I'm not saying that Master P isn't. I think he's very smart and he's a good businessman. I've Master P has given me an opportunity. I would part of the reason why, and I never said this, the reason why I even came to Los Angeles was because I bumped into Master P and was like in 2002 and was like, I am an actress. And he was like, and he got, and literally picked up the phone and made a call for me. And before, a couple months later, I was in LA, right? So like, it's that, there's that, right? There's that kind of like, kind of thing. But you know, Aisha, I want to know what you think about that. Like, what is the answer to us closing this wealth gap in a way that feels realistic?
Yeah, I'm glad you shared what you just said about him. You said when you said you an actress, you pick up the phone right away to want to
Hmm.
support you.
He did.
To me, those are the things I want to focus on. What are the who are the people that are doing things to move us forward? That is why, honestly, I love Dr. Boyce, the B1 Village. Let's keep doing things that will keep moving us forward while we're still waiting for the reparation that hope we hope will come. But what if it never comes? Then what? So if Master P, like when I saw the whole video, it gave me more perspective of what he was thinking. And for me, as a mother that has a black son, that is how I want to raise him. We have a rough history here. We do. And it would be a shame for anyone to think that that history doesn't exist or there's still no remnant of it. That is one of the greatest atrocities that the human beings have done on earth, is what that happened to our people, right? But at the same time, when do we start saying, okay, this has happened? How many of us now, like Dr. Boyce, will start moving forward? So you're not going to hold me back. I'm going to keep going. I will find people that are like-minded like me and collaborate with them and keep building something until many of us now have the same to now overshadow whatever this it is somebody is trying to stop us from. It is not going to be easy, but it requires that focus because reparation is important. This country was built by our people. We're not that dumb not to know that. We know that. And they were not paid for it. So to me, I actually walk around with pride that our people built this country and you didn't pay them. So to me, they actually had a different level of respect in my faith. So I don't need somebody else to tell me whether I should respect my people or not because of that. Does that make sense? So I have to
Yeah.
I'm raising my kids to believe that. Are you kidding me? What we have done, nobody on earth is able to do that. So that is how I'm going to keep raising you and not worry about whether or not some person is going to decide to pay reparation or not. Because you and I know that it's going to take us to move mountains for that to happen. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to wait for that. I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. I like what you're saying about not waiting. And Anonymous, I'm gonna come to you. But before I do that, I'm come to you. But let me just do this really quick. We are watching. You are watching. We are talking. You're watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I just got a text message from one of our queens who wants to come on and share her perspective, but also I think she just want to see. I think she want to see Anonymous. I'm gonna welcome Constance. I'm gonna welcome Constance Carter to the stage as well. Come on in, Constance. But I was about to ask Anonymous.
Surprise, surprise. What's up, Anonymous? You're actually quite handsome, Anonymous. I thought you was just some 350-pound gross guy sitting in your mama's basement. So you actually look good.
Are we gonna turn this into a roast session?
Nah, not at all. I'm giving you your props, brother. I'm giving you your props.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so let me just welcome Constance, and I'm glad you came, sis, because I know this is one of your favorite topics. I'm gonna mute you because there is a little feedback I hear, like your air is on, your fan is on, you got something going on. You got a fan on for sure. All right, so Anonymous, let's come back to you. Do you feel like there's a bit? So Aisha said something about not waiting, right? And I agree with the idea that we cannot wait for an opportunity. We can't wait for somebody to give something to us. So in that, with that spirit in mind, what do you think about what can we do in the waiting? Like what do we need to do? What do we need to do?
And what I think about is that it's not about waiting because we already have everything that we need to get it done. Like I say, I look at when I talk about politicians, I'm not talking about us running for office. I'm talking about us lobbying politicians. I don't care if they're white politicians, black politicians, Asian politicians.
Indeed.
Because APAC does that, the Israel lobby. That's why Israel gets whatever they want. They get whatever they want because the APAC lobby pretty much has, you have 435 members of the House of Representatives. APAC pays like 400 of them. You have 100 members of the Senate. APAC pays like 90 of them. So when it comes time for funding for Israel, they have all the money in the world for that. You know, Donald Trump was paid by Miriam Adelson. She's an Israeli Jewish woman. She paid him $100 billion, which is why he started the war with Iran. So we have a black capitalist class here. We have billionaires. We have Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, et cetera, et cetera. They actually could do what Miriam Adelson did when she paid Trump $100 billion to start the war with Iran. Like, you could actually pay someone like Trump to make him do what you want him to do. Like, say if you paid Trump $1 million and told him to issue a reparations proclamation, it's not going to actually give us reparations, but it's going to send a message to the purse, which is Congress. Hey, you got to get this thing going. So we actually have what we need. It's just that our black capitalist class are full of a lot of sellouts, which is why you don't see any change happening.
I like it. Constance, what do you say, sis? Welcome. Good to see you today.
Thank you. I was actually racing home from the grocery store when I seen you guys was on and I saw Anonymous. I was like, let me in, coach. Let me in. No, actually, I'm glad to be on the panel. And this is actually something that is actually near and dear to my heart. I was listening to you guys all made some very poignant points. But I think Master P is misguided. On one hand, I can appreciate what he does for the community. I can appreciate the empowerment and, you know, his attitude around, hey, let's just do it because nobody's coming to save us, which is true. However, we cannot know where we're going if we don't know where we came from. And that is the most important fundamental thing for us as a people. So people like Aisha and No Malenga, you guys don't have that history, that personal history. Of course, you guys you're raising black children, but you don't have that historical context. Like my family is, my parents were around during segregation. My parents had to drink, separate water fountains and go through separate doors, and they were sharecroppers and all of the things, right? And so that is still within our DNA. We still have that trauma of slavery inside of our DNA, and when you look at the entirety of the 246 years of this country, or 246 years of slavery, 1619 to 2026, we've only really been free for the last 50, 60 years. So it's very relevant. And then I heard you, Anonymous, talk about, the prison system. We're still enslaved. We're still fighting slavery. So we cannot ignore that this stuff not only happened, but it still happens to this day. We're still suffering the effects. So it's not that we're harping on it because we're victims of it, but we got to recognize it to understand why we're here. See, a lot of times before the information age, a lot of people just said that, we were lazy. They forgot, what happened 2 generations ago. They forgot how hard we did work, right? They say, and we bought in to the white supremacist talking points of who we were as a people because we had no other frame of reference. Because when we started integrating and we lost who we were, we started assimilating and we started picking up to what they said about us. We forgot all the other stuff that we did, all the great, the genius. Black people, we had 50,000 patents, right? We were inventors. In the most regulated society, we did some shit. Like, we're brilliant. But the reason why we are where we are and we are not further is because of all the things that were put in place to disrupt, dismantle, and destroy. Every time we took a step forward, they pushed us 10 steps backwards. That's part of slavery. That's part of Jim Crow. That's part of everything that this country is made of to disenfranchise Black people. So it's a conversation that definitely has to happen. And again, we're not harping on it, we're not victims by it, but we have to recognize it so we can understand how we maneuver. That's it.
And, this is a question for. I'll come back to Anonymous. Since you're our guest for today, and he's like, I ain't coming back. I might not come back, but I think I'm gonna be able to get him.
Oh, you coming back, partner?
Yes, yes. So let me ask you this: what financial behaviors within our control could make the biggest difference in Black wealth, right? So what behaviors do we have right now that, and I happen to think that Black people have progressed when it comes to like wealth building, wealth making, investing. I've seen an uptick in that. I've seen that in the last 15 years. But what are some financial behaviors that we can adopt now that can help us close that gap? So maybe we because we can't wait. So what do we do? What do we do in the interim? I think that's the question.
Well, probably the thing that's in our control right now is, say, probably marriage, because Black men and Black women, we're the least married, most divorced. Mm-hmm. And when you have two incomes coming into a house, you're able to actually build wealth that way. So that might actually be a start by getting more Black men and Black women to marry each other. Or I mean that's probably the major thing I can think of, just off the top of my head currently.
Yeah, marriage. Marriage, motherhood, and money making. Let's talk about that. Obviously, that is one of the biggest things that No Malenga is an advocate for is family. And so, we've had these conversations. We talk about it all the time. Like you said earlier, we get on here almost every day and talk about ways that Black people can accumulate wealth. And I agree, family. So I'm gonna ask you, what is another behavior that we can change right now, or that we can enforce that can get us closer to closing that wealth gap?
Are you asking me, Tiara?
Yes.
So here's the thing, and that's why I talk about, not like Constance says, you can't ignore the system, right? That is in place, because we are already doing all the things, right? And that's why I keep giving this show as an example of a group of people who are getting together. They're like-minded. They're talking about building. They're talking about rebuilding our families, rebuilding our communities. I used to have a huge homeschooling community because I believed that we needed to educate our kids. I still believe that. We're doing those things, but again, you have to balance that with the fact that you're working with a system that's working against you. So there has to be that parallel of, okay, let's do the things that we're doing, which we are doing, and I'll say them clearly in case it's not clear. Marriage is the foundation of family. Family is the foundation of community building and is the foundation of wealth building. You have to educate your own children, because we already know that our children are taught to hate themselves, and they literally change history and tell them the wrong things and create an image of them that contradicts what we know them to be. So homeschooling your children, I've always said homeschooling your children doesn't mean you yank them out of school entirely, although that'd be great too. You also have to make sure that when they're getting schooled in education, you're also balancing with an education and a curriculum at home that talks about them and who they are, and building them specifically as Black children living in a predominantly white environment or a white country. The other thing is, yes, we do have to build businesses or build wealth or invest, educate ourselves. And when I talk about education, people think about getting degrees, but it isn't about that. There's non-formal education and specific education that suits us and what that is specific to us. So those are some of the pillars of the things. And I really believe a lot of us are doing it. That's why I say, yeah, you can't ignore the system. Because the system is working against you, and sometimes it can feel like you're spinning your wheels on a hamster wheel, because, or rather, you're running on a hamster wheel because you're working in a system that's also working against you. But I believe that we are doing the things.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Constance. As someone that creates content every day geared towards helping Black people understand wealth and receiving so much venom from people outside of our community daily. So we can, and I thank you for releasing those daily, sis, because we really get a real perspective of what the world is really thinking, or what at least others, because I think Black people, sometimes we can get in these spaces where we think kumbaya, like racism no longer matters, and it's not, and then we come to your page and you like, somebody's like, you effing nigger, right? And there's all of these things. So tell me, how has that, I'm going to ask you what behaviors are in our control, but can you also weigh in on how that affects your perspective on, you know, where we really, the time that we're really living in, like, it's not a kumbaya. It's, people are really still feeling that hatred from decades ago. It never went away, actually.
I absolutely love it. I'm so glad that people are so vocal about it. I do. I love it. That's why I don't delete a comment. I don't respond to the DMs that I get, but I keep them all there. It just says receipts. But I think it's great because for far too long, the last 50 years, what happened from like the 60s to like the 90s and the 2000s up until Barack Obama became the president, we really thought that they loved us. But the whole time they was waiting on their moment. They were waiting. Now, it's not all white people, but it's always white people. I'm gonna say that one more time. It's not all white people, but it's always white people. So I think it's great because I think what it does is now for us, we thought that they were our advocates. We thought that they had our back. We thought that they were our allies, and some of them are. I'm not saying that they're not, because I post a lot of content from our white allies and brothers and sisters who know the truth. But it's taking the blinders off of our eyes to know ain't nobody coming to save you, Black people. They do not. Democrats, they pride themselves in us being dependent upon them. They love our dependency, where we'll never have that independence. Republicans, they don't give a damn about nobody but wealthy people. None of these parties care about you, whether they're Democrat or Republican. None of them care about you. They care about their money. That's what Dr. Fraser said. They care about their families, their communities, their neighborhoods. They don't give a damn about you, Black people, but they are thinking about you. That's one thing I do disagree with him on, because he said white people ain't thinking about you. They are thinking about you because they're thinking about how they can disenfranchise you while they're thinking about how they can help their own communities. So I think it's great because we see now what we got to do is now we got to look internally, and now we got to start looking to, because we need each other to survive. I can't do it without y'all. We are a communal people. Now, you ladies are straight from the motherland. Y'all know us Black people, we are communal by nature. We're not about this rugged, individualistic, capitalistic society. We are. That's within our DNA. That goes beyond the Atlantic and what's that boat? That goes beyond slavery. That's in our DNA. So that's what we have to get back to, is we have to get back to each other. That African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have to start looking at each other and doing it. That's the only way we're going to do it. We cannot do it alone.
I love that. I love that. Listen, y'all, it is popping. If you are just joining us, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we are talking about Master P. He says that Black people must forget about slavery in order to build wealth, and look to the future instead of looking behind us. I'm joined by some really powerful people. We got Anonymous in the house, who is our guest, but some people in the comments said, Anonymous, you are pretty famous around here, but you know that already. Every time we say his name, he's like, what? Like you don't know that you here. Like you don't know, like you ain't been trolling us for 2 years, maybe more. Right? Like, what? I don't even know what you mean.
I
over
wasn't
here.
trolling. I was keeping it real.
That's what you say every time. I'm keeping it real. It's trolling. Listen, people have asked me to block Anonymous a million times, and I will not do it. I'm so glad I didn't because I knew this moment would come.
Half of the chat already has me blocked.
Unblock Anonymous. Did y'all see? He don't look like what we thought he looked like. We thought he was ugly and 400 pounds and lived in his mama's basement. But look at him.
Hey, every man is ugly. There's no such thing as a good-looking man. Okay.
Oh,
Only women are beautiful.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Okay. All right. I'll take it. Y'all, let's jump into some of these stats. I think they are important. So let's jump into some of these stats. Okay. So home ownership has historically been one of the primary ways American families build and transfer wealth. Discriminatory housing policies, segregation, and differences in poverty valuation have contributed to the racial disparities in wealth accumulation. I'm gonna come to you real quick, Constance, because you are our real estate queen. How do you think is home ownership the key? And like, just give us a quick for people that may not have a home and might feel like this economy is really hard to have a home, right? How can we shift that mindset? Because maybe it is a part of it. He says that we need to stop thinking negatively and not believing that we could do it. So maybe some of us is like, man, my credit might be a little bad. I might not be in a place to do it. I don't have a job, whatever. What do you think is the best? How can we walk in that direction?
For sure.
I say it's not just primary for Americans, it's globally. The most fundamental way that people build wealth globally is through real estate and transfer wealth. It's not just America.
Yeah, so real estate is the number one way to build wealth in America, for sure. And so the way that we can kind of get in position to that wealth building, like for me, I'll just say for me, and as an example, I abruptly moved to the East Coast a few years ago, built a great business and all that stuff, and the business was great, but I'd kind of put it to the side and decide I want to come out here and go on vacation and like take a break for a couple of years and not do anything and be on podcasts with y'all and not do nothing. But because I have properties that allowed me to sustain myself and sustain my families, I was able to utilize those as leverage to do other things and invest in other things. So the real estate is the number one way. Wealth is passed generationally. 90% of wealth is passed intergenerationally. 80% of wealth is passed through real estate. That's the number one way that we could actually do something. So when you look at real estate, people think of it as this big monstrosity, and it's really not. I mean, you really can get into a home with no money down if you have decent credit. And if you don't got decent credit, I got books about it that you could buy the books and get your credit together. You look at the reviews. The reviews say that my book saved their lives, like for real. No, but like it's not. It's like it ain't nothing to it but to do it. If you have a goal, crush it. But don't look at it as the end all be all, because that's one of the things is people want the mansion. They want the forever home. And so get into something that you can use it as leverage to get that next thing and that next thing and that next thing. It takes patience, but it's something that you can do. And if you could take that and you could use it as leverage to get this, like for me, I started flipping houses, and then I then I started investing in real estate, and then I own a marijuana dispensary, and then I bought a commercial building. But all of these started from one thing, which is real estate. And so that one thing led to me being able to be an investor in all these other things. And so you could get in, again, no money down payment assistance, get your credit up. Black people have an average of 677 credit score, while everybody else is in the 700s. So get your credit up. It's not a hard thing to do. And then just get in the game. If you have a job, you should be able to purchase a home. No problem. It might not be the one we want, but you can get some.
I love that. Thank you, Constance. Okay, so income alone does not explain the racial wealth gap. Research has found substantial Black wealth differences even among households with similar income. Inheritance, accumulated assets, and differences in opportunity to build wealth across generations are among the contributing factors. So, Aisha, I want to come to you. When I see the word inheritance, it makes me think of insurance. It makes me think of it makes me think of that type of transfer. So, can you quickly just kind of talk a little bit about transferring and how you can close maybe the wealth gap in your family through insurance?
Absolutely. I think inheritance is such a powerful way to continue to build wealth in the family because it shows that those that were here before you have something to pass to you, right? And like Constance says, real estate is one of them. Sometimes the only reason why, like you say, with the same, even though there's the equal amount of income, somehow there's no inheritance. Because if only one person is the one that is always doing something and is not continuing to keep moving from one to the next generation, then it's hard. It's like you're always starting from scratch. You're always starting over every time. You're always restarting. So that's where the gap is. So if you have the proper insurance, let's make that clear, is a proper insurance. As your life changes, you have to adjust your insurance ownership. It can be I bought $10,000 insurance 50 years ago, and now inflation, cost of housing has changed, but then you have borrowed from your home, and now something has happened. Right now, you go backwards. But if you keep adjusting your insurance, you can literally truly pass down inheritance, because then now when something happens and maybe one of the elders pass away, this money now that we've received can be used to now really own outright this property. So then we really own it. It's not again like we're starting over, we're always starting over because we didn't properly protect the asset that we're building. Because we believe that it's not how much you money you make, right? It's what you get to keep. What do you keep in your family? Does it really belong to you, or does it still belong to the bank? Right? That's the difference there. So insurance really does help, but it has to be the proper protection and the proper coverage for the amount of time that is necessary. So that inheritance truly gets passed down and really stays in the family.
All right, I love that. Thank you. Between 2019 and 2022, median wealth among black families increased approximately 61% compared with about 31% among white families. Despite that percentage growth, the dollar wealth gap increased because black families started from a substantially lower level of wealth. So, Anonymous, I'm going to ask you this question. When it comes to us starting from the bottom, right? What do you say? Like just being someone who clearly comes across like, you understand money. How is it that you would how would you recommend that people starting from the bottom start to move in their life, like starting from the bottom, how to start from the bottom and get to where they're going in a way that is how do I say, in a way that is how to start from the bottom? What's the approach when you're starting from the bottom?
Yeah. Well, when you're starting from the bottom, first you gotta get a job. First thing, which is actually another thing about the black community. Most of us have jobs, and we pay like a large share of the taxes because most of us are W-2 workers. And the W-2 workers get taxed the most out of anybody in our society. I think the W-2 worker tax is like 35%, where 1099 self-employed is about 20%, and investors, they only get taxed like 15%. So I guess get a job, put that money into investments, so that way you get a lower tax rate. I mean, it's easier. I mean, it's not as hard as people try to make it out to be. But I mean, but that low tax rate, like people say, tax the rich. So I don't even know how long it's gonna be viable.
I love that. I actually love that. That's a great answer. Um, okay, this is, I don't know where this is from, but this our last stat is according to Federal Reserve 2022 survey of consumer finances, the median white family has approximately 285,000 in wealth compared to about 44,000 for median black families. That means that typically black families have roughly $16 in wealth for every $100 held by typical white families. Nomalinga, I understand that we are, where this is where it is according to the stats. I'm always weird about stats, but let's just say that these stats are real, right? They are consistent. What is that? How can we catch up to that? I know we've been talking about reparations, we've been talking about family, but if you could give people a clear path, in 60 seconds or less, give it to me. What's the clear path?
So the problem is starting over with every generation, and that has to stop. I think in our last show, people were so outraged that we have to make marriage a requirement for in our families, but that's actually a real thing. If you're starting over every generation, that's why you're starting from quote unquote scratch, because nothing's been passed down. It's like there's a scattering every generation, then you scatter and you scatter and you scatter. There's no way. Wealth is actually, once you can say a family is wealthy is if they've sustained that wealth for at least 3 generations. And that requires you passing it down, right? But if you scatter every single generation, there's no way to pass down and build actual wealth that can be sustained. The people that we look at as the wealthy people, like the Waltons, or I think they're the Walmart people, and all these names, even people like Master P, we don't know what's going to happen in the next generation. We don't know if he's wealthy yet. So far, he's rich. We don't know if he's actually going to, if we can call his family wealthy, because if his kids scatter it, and then the kids after that, their grandkids are all starting all over again, then that was never really real wealth, you see? So you have to, there's no getting around the fact that family is a foundational thing. And if you pass things down from generation to generation, that's how you build wealth. And also, people think that wealth is like huge amounts of money. No. If grandma built a little 2 bedroom and then gave it to her daughter, and then the next daughter and the next daughter, and people are actually maybe going to college and not having to worry about buying a home, and they actually have a home where they can, instead of buying a home to live in, you buy a home to invest in. Those are real things. It doesn't have to be massive. Like I think Constance said it earlier, you can start small and then the wealth grows from generation to generation, or even within that same generation if you replicate that behavior. But I'll never stop saying it. If we don't get our families strong, nothing can be strong. Nothing. Nothing.
I love that so much. So listen, y'all, we have had such a great conversation. Constance, thank you so much, sis, for coming in last minute. I want to thank everybody who has showed up. The chat is on fire today. We appreciate it. We didn't pull Anonymous out of the chat and put a face to a name. Well, we don't know Anonymous's name. We just gonna keep calling him Anonymous. We don't know your name. I mean, I think I know your name because it's on your email. Is that your name?
Yeah, I got this
Okay.
email.
Okay. All right.
It
So,
could be a fake email.
it could be a fake. You know what? I'm not playing with you today. But we appreciate you for coming by. I love the things that I love how you contributed to this conversation, and I absolutely love when you're in the chat saying the exact same thing. So, I know we talk a lot around here, but we absolutely love that you came through. So thank you for that. Let's go to our final thoughts. If we can keep it 45 seconds or less because we are over time. My question today is what is one thing you believe Black America needs to stop, and one thing you think we need to start doing to build wealth, because not riches, but wealth over the next generation. I'll start with you, Constance.
Thank you. First of all, shout out to Anonymous. You were great. Loved you on the show. So thank you for coming on here with us today. You're dope. So one thing stop doing is stop complaining. Stop thinking it's so limiting. we a lot of us have a limiting mindset, and then stop painting us all with a broad brush. Like all black people don't do this, all black people don't do that. Like when we start saying all, then that's when we lose credibility. So all of us are we're a monolith. We're not a monolith. So we're all very different, but we gotta get outside of ourselves. We gotta get uncomfortable, and that's what we do have to do is get uncomfortable and try different things. What if you try something and you succeeded? That would be dope. And I think it would be great for our community. We got to give back to people in our community. So each one teach one, give back. Where can you
people?
find me? Everywhere at I am Constance Carter.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, sis. Aisha, what about you? What is one thing that Black America needs to stop doing to accumulate wealth in this next generation?
Stop waiting. But in the meantime, just practice group economics. Make sure that we're supporting our businesses. We're actually intentional about that. We're not just saying we're going to do it. We're actually intentional about supporting Black-owned businesses. And whatever we do, we give back to our inner community. So, like a place, the B1 Village, I love it. Where like-minded African Americans are all there, pouring to each other, supporting each other. To me, that's what I will contribute. Say, stop waiting. Just start practicing group economics.
And where can people find you?
Oh, AishaVersey.com and the Black
Perfect.
Business School.
I love that. As always, thank you, sis. No Malenga, start and stop. What needs to happen?
I think the thing that we need to stop is stop trusting people, other people, more than we trust ourselves. I remember having homeschooling community and people couldn't trust themselves to educate their children. They couldn't trust themselves to start even small business and hire their own children. A lot of it is we want people to do for us what we won't do for ourselves. So stop trusting other people more than you trust yourself. And it works. That's what you should start doing. Start trusting yourself. You can educate your own children. You can build your own businesses. You can buy your own houses. You can do so many things as long as you stop trusting other people more than you trust yourself. I keep saying I don't really want to be found right now. I know everybody wants to be found. I don't really want to be found. But I do always ask that you support our charity. It's at patsforgirls.com. We support young girls who are in school and sometimes they are poor so that they don't have the necessary supplies and miss school because of that. So please do support us. Even the smallest amounts really go a long way. It's at padsforourgirls.com. Padsforourgirls.com. Thank you.
I love that. Anonymous, what do we need to start and stop doing?
Well, our community has a problem with maximizing the minimum and minimizing the maximum. So we need to stop doing that. What I mean is, people talk about how rap music is such an issue and it's causing an issue within the community. That's a minimum problem, but for some reason it gets maximalized. Meanwhile, reparations is more of a maximum problem, but it gets minimalized within the community. I mean, because reparations is also, it could be a wealth builder, whether it be getting land reparations or how I think it should be like a tax exemption of 89 years from 1776 to 1865. And that's going to be over the course of 4 generations. So you basically have 4 generations of tax exempt people that descend from slavery. And all you need is one grandparent to like get access to that. I got 4 grandparents, so I'm overqualified, who descend from slavery. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Love that. And obviously, you don't want to be found because you're anonymous.
At least not until maybe I might run for public office one day. And then you guys probably gonna see me on the TV and then say, "Hey, is it announcement?"
I love that. Well,
Run for governor of Georgia or something.
okay. We love that. We can see that. I love that. I love that. So we had him here first, the future governor of Georgia. For me, I feel like for whatever reason, I feel like we've gotten really good at being distracted. So I would say Black people need to stop scrolling so much and needing to be entertained and get in the game. Right? Get in the game. We can't just sit and scroll and watch other people and be in the comments and be just I feel like it's wasting precious time and precious life that we have. So you can scroll as long as it's on Constance, or another one of the queens who actually want to teach you something. But if you just scrolling for hours, sometimes I look and I'm like, 5 hours online is crazy throughout for a whole week. Just imagine what you could have done in that. And that's just like sometimes if I'm watching YouTube videos, it'll remind me that I've been watching. So I just think it's important that we're mindful and that we have a consciousness about how we are what we are consuming, and making sure that we're consuming the right things. If you are looking for me, I'm across all platforms as Miss Black Hollywood. Holla at your girl. You know what I'm saying? Holla at me. All right, y'all. We have taken up y'all time. Y'all, we appreciate having you. Thank you again, Queens, for coming and spending this time with me. I'm always gracious. And Anonymous, again, you've been thanked, but we appreciate you for coming. Dennis Spraggins, the Real Black Lexicon, Double A, all of y'all. I see y'all. Booker, I think I seen Dr. Vibe in here. We missed y'all so much, over the summer. I had a hysterectomy, so I was out, and I missed all of y'all. I missed my queens. But we're back Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you join us on this Thursday, and we will see you. Make sure that you, again, take this information and go be great. Go do something with it. We love y'all. We'll see y'all on Thursday. Bye.
And I was joking about public office.
Were you?
Yeah, I'm just an activist. Yeah.
We voting. We voting for you, Anonymous.
Yeah, we vote.